everyone, welcome to Q&A. My name is Bill, the company's expert, and today, Michael Canna writes, I'm looking for tips for an elevator pitch when changing careers from a language teacher to an administrative position. I wonder if you have some advice. Okay, excellent question, Michael Canna. This is a topic I haven't really covered on my channel yet. Elevator pitches. It's great that you bring this up. This is something that a lot of people don't know how to do. And even more people don't realize that they need to do this, okay? And this is all within the context of a job search type situation. Okay, so elevator pitches. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by talking about what an elevator pitch is and why you need one, what it does. And then we're going to talk about how to do an elevator pitch. And then we're going to talk about maybe a couple of examples of elevator pitches towards the end. Okay, so now, first off, if you were to Google elevator pitches, I'm sure you would find a lot of weird stuff on there, a lot of contradictory things, and that's because a lot of people pitch a lot of different things, okay? Some people are selling things, right? So they make a pitch. Other people pitch their startup company to investors, and then other people are pitching themselves, right? And that's what we're talking about here. You're pitching yourself in a job search, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today, where you're pitching yourself in a job search. Now, on top of that, there's probably about 1 million different opinions on how to do this, okay? It isn't like a sort of one right answer and everything else is wrong. There's a lot of variation here. I'm going to give you, for what it's worth, I'm going to give you my 2 cents on how I feel it should be done. But once again, you can maybe use it as an inspiration to make it your own and come up with something that works for you. Okay, so an elevator pitch, what is it? Well, at its simplest, an elevator pitch is a very short explanation that's rehearsed and it's in your head. It's on the tip of your mind. And usually it's one of the first things you say because it's an introduction to you and it summarizes who you are, why you're here, and what you want. Okay, that's what an elevator pitch is. Now, a lot of people in a job search don't need an elevator pitch because they're in a very simple situation. For example, let's say you're a medical student who's finally become qualified and now they're applying for their first job as a doctor. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. You don't need a lot of explanations there, so that's probably good. You probably don't need an elevator pitch. However, if you're in a more complex situation, like the one that Michael Canna is describing here in their question, where someone is changing careers, in this case from a language teacher to an administrator, okay, that requires more of an explanation. Okay, so that's where an elevator pitch is really going to help you because it's going to eliminate a lot of confusion, a lot of awkwardness, and a lot of long rambling explanations that don't count in your favor. Okay, so for people who have a bit of a complex situation, like switching careers, they can really benefit from having an elevator pitch. Okay, now, how do we do an elevator pitch? Well, basically, this is like an introduction. So the very first thing you're going to say in your elevator pitch is your name. So the first thing I would say is, hello, my name is Bill, okay? Something like that. That's the first thing I say. And then that's followed up. The second thing you say is your brand. And God, I hate that word. That is so overused, usually by people who don't know what it means. But your brand, your identity, who you are, okay? Now, this is a little bit of a somewhat complex topic for some people. I've had a lot of students and things that have a hard time wrapping their brain around this. We are a lot of different things to a lot of different people, okay? For example, if I was introducing myself, I could say, hi, I'm Bill. I'm a YouTuber. Or if I'm introducing myself to someone who doesn't know me at all, I could say, hi, I'm Bill. I'm a former CEO of a mid-sized industrial company. Or I could say something like, hi, I'm Bill. I'm a student. Now, whatever I say in my brand, my identity, that becomes who I am to the person I'm talking to. They don't know me. They don't know anything about me. This is the first time they're ever meeting me. So in their minds, I'm going to be the thing that I've just said I am. Okay? Think of it this way. For those of us who are familiar with LinkedIn, the website LinkedIn, if you've created a LinkedIn profile, what's the first thing at the top of the page? It's your name, right? The first thing is your name, and then right under your name is the tagline, right? And the tagline is essentially your identity. It's your brand, who you are, right? So that's where you could say, I'm Bill Todd, student, or I'm Bill Todd, general manager, or I'm Bill Todd, YouTuber, right? Now, the big question is, who do I want to be to the person that's reading it, that I'm communicating with? So if I'm introducing myself, who do I want them to know that I am, right? Now, that's the first two things you say. You say your name and you say your brand, okay? Then that's followed up by some things you have, okay? Some facts about you. Usually in this type of situation, it would be your education and, a very, very high-level summary of your experience, okay? So I could say, hi, I'm Bill. I'm a general manager. I have a degree in engineering and an MBA, and I have 20 years experience in this particular industry, something like that. And then the last thing, and this is kind of optional, but the last thing that a lot of people do is they say what they want, okay? So if you're in a job interview situation or a job search, the last thing you would put is maybe what you're looking for. So I could say, hello, my name is Bill. I'm a former CEO of, a mid-size industrial company, and I have an MBA, I have an engineering degree, and I have 20 years in this experience in this industry. And I'm looking for a situation where I can bring innovative thinking to a more traditional role. Something like that. Now, how long did it take me to explain that? Maybe 30 seconds, give or take. That I feel is a good elevator pitch, okay? Name, brand, what you have, maybe education, experience, and what you're looking for. Or the last part could be what your talent is, something like that. I specialize in doing this type of work, or, I have a lot of insight, I have a lot of experience in doing this type of work, or I'm looking for this, type of role because I have a lot of skills that I can apply there. Something like that. Okay, so that's what an elevator pitch is, roughly, okay? Now, the big question in writing your own elevator pitch is figuring out who do you want to be to the other person, okay? So in this situation, okay, we have a language teacher who is wanting to switch careers to an administrative position. So presumably, they are applying for an administrative type job. They're not applying for a teaching job. They're applying for an administrator job. So when you go into let's say it's a job interview. When you go into the job interview and you introduce yourself to the interviewer, who are you? Well, I'm an administrator. Okay, that's what you probably want to say in some way, shape, or form. If you introduce yourself as a language teacher, which is very tempting because that's what you've been doing for maybe the last 20 years, what are they going to think? They're going to think, this is an administrative job. Why are you applying for it if you're a language teacher? That doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't seem like you're qualified, and it's not really appropriate that you apply for this job because it's a total mismatch, right? You don't want them to think that, right? Now, to maybe save a long explanation, maybe I'll just say I'll give a couple of examples of maybe what you could say if this describes your situation. You could say something like, hello, my name is, Bill or whatever your name is, and I am an aspiring administrator. something like that. Or you could say, I am an administrator with a lot of teaching experience. I've had 20 years experience doing administration in a teaching setting because, presumably a lot of teaching roles do have a big administrative component to them. So you're explaining how, you actually do have a lot of experience administrating. It's just that you were working as a teacher when you were doing that work. Okay? So I am an administrator, or I am an administrator with a lot of teaching experience. I have this qualification, that includes a lot of administrative learning. I have this much experience administrating courses and communicating with students and, regulating policies and communicating policies and keeping track of confidential information and all this kind of stuff. This is all relevant to administrative type work. And I'm looking for a job where I can finally do the work that I'm passionate about, which is administration full time. Something like that. Okay? So what you're doing is with this 30-second explanation, you are explaining the fact that you are changing careers. You're explaining the fact that when someone looks at your resume, they're going to see a lot of teaching experience. And you're explaining how, despite that, you're still appropriate for the role. And it explains your strengths in why you may be a good candidate for this role. Something like that. Okay? So that's maybe an example of how you could use an elevator pitch to avoid a lot of confusing, long-winded explanations that do nothing but create doubts about you in an interview type situation with recruiters, and may result in a lot of confusion on their part, and results in you losing the interview. So that's the type of problem that an elevator pitch can solve. That's how you might use it when you're changing careers. And I hope that goes some way to answering Michael Canna's question. So thank you very much for sending in that question. That was an intelligent question. I love getting these. Thank you very much. Keep sending in these intelligent questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. You guys are awesome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.